In Mass Effect Andromeda's multiplayer, you are part of an Apex team, the best of the best the Nexus has to offer. While not a regular group of soldiers, they are nonetheless talented individuals that take on the most dangerous and important missions in this new galaxy. In this series, we are going to take a look at the various class builds for the various characters in the game's multiplayer. So with that in mind, I'm Darcblade, and let's take a look at the next character in our series of Mass Effect Andromeda Multiplayer class guides, the Salarian Operator. Now remember that these guides are aimed at the harder difficulties in the game and are for level 20 rank 10 characters or above, although there will be advice for lower ranked characters later on in the video. The Salarian Operator is the first ultra rare character that I'm covering. I gave myself a huge restriction when making these guides, saying that I would only make a guide once a character has reached rank 10, and with ultra rare characters, the fact that it takes so long to get them to rank 10 means that it's been a while. But nonetheless, the ultra rares are starting to reach rank 10, and thus I can start releasing the guides for them. Now the Salarian Operator is a huge team player. By himself, his damage output is not anything special. However, through his abilities, he's able to support the team in many ways, not only providing damage, debuffs to the enemy, but also healing their team's shields. With that, I start by speccing the Salarian Operator as follows. First, with Invasion, I go up to rank 6, putting points into Virulence over Sabotage. Now on the harder difficulties, both of these are viable, to be honest. Virulence will add a little bit of damage output and allow Invasion to actually deal AoE damage to targets, while Sabotage will reduce enemies' effectiveness against you and your teammates. So like I said, this is down to personal preference. I've had more success with Virulence, and it's more noticeable than Sabotage. Next, with rank 5, I put points into Weaken to apply that 10% damage debuff. And while the two bonuses of Epidemic are nice, if you've got points in rank 4 Outbreak, as well as a quick cooldown timer, it means that you don't have to worry too much. It just means that you'll maybe casting Invasion a little bit more. And then finally with rank 4, I put points into Outbreak over Recharge Speed. Recharge Speed is okay, and if you did take heavy weaponry into battle, then I would probably advise this. It just means that you have to apply Invasion to multiple targets manually. Next with Shield Boost, I go up to rank 6, putting points into Overcharge over Extended Duration. This is to provide extra survivability and shields to your allies. Extended Duration is okay, but it's only beneficial if you have other side benefits, like in the Angaran Insurgent's case, or you and your teammates are able to stay undercover without taking damage for a set period. Next with rank 5, I put points into Recharge Speed over Shield Burst. This is so I can use Shield Boost as often as possible. And then finally with rank 4, I put points into Radius over Restoration. This is simply to give Shield Boost a better quality of life, as although it does have a fairly wide range when used, putting points in Radius really does help ensure that you more often than not get your teammates in the radius of Shield Boost. Next with Overload, I only put 1 point into this, simply to use it as a primer and detonator. If you did really want to put points into this over the other abilities and passives, I would go rank 6 EMP, rank 5 anti-shields, and then rank 4 either damage or recharge speed. It's down to you. Going on to the passives, first with Offensive Tech, I go up to rank 6, putting points into Elemental Tech over Weapon Mass Reduction. Elemental Tech means that inflicting a status effect on an enemy, either through the shocking effect of Overload or via Invasion, they will take more damage from heat, cold and electric sources, which benefits not only you, but your entire team, especially if they are tech users or have consumable ammo types. Next with rank 5, I put points in anti-shields over anti-armor. This again is down to personal preference. A lot of the tougher enemies in the game seem to have a balance between the two now, rather than one in particular. And then finally with rank 4, I put points into power enhancement over combo detonation. This is mainly to increase the duration of shield boost and invasion. And then finally with support systems, I got to rank 6, putting points into tech sabotage over shield reset. Tech sabotage benefits all of you, while shield reset only benefits you personally. Basically, hitting an enemy with a power causes them to deal less damage. So for example, if you charge up Overload, it will bounce to up to 3 people, meaning that tech sabotage debuff will be on 3 targets. It really does come in handy. Next with rank 5, I put points into support systems to give me more health and shields, as well as buff the power restoration and defense of abilities like shield boost. And then finally with rank 4, I put points into tech radius over tech duration. This is pretty much down to personal preference, but I chose radius to aid shield boost more than anything, meaning that I'll be able to catch all of my teammates when I use the ability. As for weaponry, take something that's light. You don't really want to get over that 100% recharge speed. I personally like to use a decent pistol, like the Hurricane or Scorpion. As for your gear slot, either go with something to increase your recharge speed or survivability. Now let's get into the heart of the episode and talk about the moves and abilities available to the Salarian Operator. First is Invasion, a unique ability only available to this class. Once used, the Salarian operator will unleash a swarm of VI controlled machines that attach themselves to target, weakening their defences, as well as causing a plague that will spread to their nearby allies. This lasts for a fairly long time as well, even without extra points in duration and that. This ability really comes in handy in debuffing the enemy, making them take more damage from not only you, but your entire team. Pretty much essential on the harder difficulties in the game. Whilst Invasion is not really known for dealing damage, it still does a small amount, and with points in virulence, it does help finish off weaker targets. The Invasion VI Swarm is also fairly slow moving, and if you've got an enemy highlighted, it can sort of go around walls and cover. Unprotected foes who are hit by Invasion will panic slightly as well as the VI Swarm attaches itself to them. This can give you a slight breather and pause weaker targets in attacking you. When I say weaker targets, I mean targets mainly without shields or armor. With Invasion on an enemy, it basically guarantees that that target will die fast, especially under focused fire from you and your teammates, making it a wonderful ability. One of the other nice aspects about Invasion is that it spreads, so if an enemy is hit with Invasion, if a nearby ally of that enemy gets within 6 meters of them by default, the Invasion debuff will spread to them as well. This potentially means that enemies who are clumped up together will all be infected by the Invasion debuff. However, if enemies stay further apart, then the Invasion won't spread, but this can be alleviated with a quick recharge speed. This will simply allow you to recast Invasion on targets that are more spread out. The next ability is Shield Boost. Once used, the Salarian operator will tap on his Omnitor and unleash a pulse that reinforces his shields as well as all of his allies' shields who are within range. This pulse basically restores a set portion of shields. On top of that as well, it enhances everyone's shield regeneration for a small amount of time, making this ability a great survivability tool. Being able to use it often means that you're able to restore yours and your allies' shields at a decent pace, giving you a better defense on the harder difficulties in the game. The major downside though is that you need allies nearby you for this to work effectively. If everyone's spread out, then it's not going to be as useful, although it can still be handy in restoring your own shields if that is the case. This works wonders when it comes to hunkering down teams that stay in a defensive position, but not so much for teams who like to roam around the map. Shield Boost benefits from having a quick cooldown. Light loadouts will definitely help in this case, and boosters and gear mods even further. Being able to use Shield Boost as much as possible will allow you to restore large amounts of shields to your teammates. And on top of that, with points in Overcharge, means that you'll be granting that 100% shield bonus more often. The next ability is Overload. If the ability button is tapped, the Salarian operator will unleash an electric discharge from his Omnitor that deals bonus damage to shielded enemies and synthetic enemies, so that's like the Remnant. It's pretty much an instant cast ability, so as soon as you press the ability button, it will hit the target, as long as they're highlighted. You can also hold the ability button as well. Holding it will make the Salarian operator charge his Omnitor, then after a second or two, you can unleash it. This will cause Overload to jump to 2 additional targets as well as the first one hit. This allows you to do a little bit of AoE damage with Overload, but more importantly, apply the bonuses from your passives, like Tech Sabotage, to multiple enemies. Overload can also be used as a detonator, a combo detonator, and with the Salarian operator, is mainly used to set off teammates' combos. You can take consumable ammo type if you wish, and then you can set off your own combos, but it's not required for this class to be at its best. Overload as well has an unwritten rule that it is a primer, so if you hit a target with Overload, as long as they will hit within a second or two by a secondary detonator ability, in the Salarian operator's case it will have to come from your teammates, it will create a tech combo, causing a static electric cage to which enemies who walk into it will be stunned and take extra damage. Now, as for the passives, as I already mentioned, both of them provide a nice debuff against enemies. Elemental Tech, meaning that if you put a status effect on an enemy, means they'll take more damage from electric, fire or cold damage, which comes in handy, especially if you're playing with other tech-based users, or if your team have consumable ammo types. Power Enhancement helps deal damage with Overload and to some extent Invasion, but we're mainly looking at the power effect duration for this augmentation. And then with support systems, the main 2 highlights are Tech Sabotage and Tech Radius. Tech Sabotage, the damage debuff on enemies comes in very handy, especially on the harder difficulties in the game. It basically means enemies will hit a little less hard. Tech Radius helps when it comes to both Invasion and especially Shield Boost. And then finally, support systems was to give myself some more health and shields. Now the Salarian operator is a Salarian, and as such he comes with slightly below average health but about average shields. He has a standard dodge, jump and hover mechanic all fueled with his jetpack, and his melee attacks are made with a standard Omniblade. Now if you don't have a rank 10 level 20 Salarian operator, I would still advise maxing out invasion first. This is because it's his unique aspect, after which it's a case of focusing on probably shield boost, then balance out the two passives, and if you really wanted to, you could drop points elsewhere in favour for overload if you were so inclined. Overall, the Salarian operator is one of the most support oriented characters in the game, providing enemy debuffs via invasion, offensive tech and support systems means that the enemy will be doing less damage to you as well as taking more damage from you. This also applies to the entire team, so everyone benefits. Also, thanks to shield boost, he can provide a pseudo healer role in restoring yours and your allies' shields in moments of need. If you have a quick cooldown, you can pretty much spam shield boost with only brief intervals in between where the recharge timer is going. This gives everyone more survivability, and this can be essential in taking on the harder difficulties. If you're with a team that likes to stay together, especially a team that likes to stay together in a defendable position, then the Salarian operator can easily help you take on the harder difficulties in the game. Anyway, I hope this guide helps, and until next time, I've been Darcblade, bringing you a Mass Effect Andromeda Multiplayer class guide to the Salarian operator. Hope you enjoyed the video, thanks for watching, subscribe and like for more.